Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, the Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be ranking vehicles that I find fun and not very fun to drive, personally. So this is going to be ranking my favorite and least favorite tanks. I have a lot of tier lists where I rank the best and the most overpowered and then the worst tanks in the game. But I don't have many tier lists where I rank my personal favorite to drive, capabilities aside. And that is exactly what I'm going to be doing today. So I'm not going to have obviously too many in the favorite category, and I'm probably not expecting too many in the not fun category either. So we will see. I'm going to put tanks that aren't released yet as well into the bottom here, because obviously some of the tanks that aren't released aren't going to really make it into the video. With that aside, let's get straight into it. I don't want to keep this video too long. Starting off, we have the WZ-114 SP2. This is a vehicle I am going to put into the... I'm thinking probably average to fun category. It's definitely not a super fun tank. The gun is really mediocre. They did buff its armor. I'm going to put it into the fun category. The 114 has solid turret armor. Its gun hits hard. It's pretty inaccurate, but I actually really like the tank. I think it looks cool, and it's not a bad play style at all. The BZ-75 with the 152 goes into the favorite. As many of you know, I've posted like 10 videos on the tank at this point, and it's my favorite tier 10. The BZ-75 with a 130mm, we're going to put into the, we'll put it in the fun. It's not bad, but it's definitely not nearly as enjoyable for me as the derp gun. That's the whole reason why I'm playing the tank. The WZ-111-5A also goes into the favorite category. As many of you know, I absolutely love that tank, so because of that, we're going to put it there. WZ-113 has really good mobility, solid penetration, great DPM. It has 400 damage per shot, giving it a very quick reload, and it actually has pretty good armor. I think it's a fun tank, so goes right into the super fun category. WZ-113 GFT. For me, I personally think it goes into the average category in terms of fun. And the reason why is because it has everything going for it. I don't find tanks that are particularly overpowered to be that exciting for me to personally drive. So because of that, usually the more overpowered the tank is, the lower I'm going to put it on the ranking for me. Because I like tanks that challenge me. I like tanks that require skill to do well in. It's why I don't drive an E50M or an STB1 every single battle I play. I just don't find it fun. If you look at my most played tanks on any of my accounts, they're usually the goofy ones, not the ones that are particularly overpowered. And that brings us to the 121, the Chinese medium. This definitely goes into the super fun. I love the 121, great gun. Overall, just a fantastic vehicle. 121B, we're going to put into the fun category, not super fun. While I do like the 121B, it's just not as exciting right now as the base tech tree model. I think the 121B is a super good tank, and I like that it has 350 damage per shot and combat or adaptive concealment and everything, but it's just not that exciting of a tank with its stats. It's kind of average in terms of damage per shot and capabilities, you know, very similar to other Soviet-style vehicles. WZ-130-1 is the tier 10 Chinese light tank, and this one's definitely going to go into the super fun category with the damage per shot, DPM, spotting mechanic, and everything it has. It's a great tank. 60 TP. Ooh, the 60 TP is a tricky one. I'm going to put the 60 TP into the super fun category. I actually really like the 60. I think the alpha damage, the mobility, the holding potential of the vehicle allow it to be incredibly strong. So because of that, the 60 TP goes right into super fun. And the Caro 45 ton with its 4-shell auto reloader, technically 3 if you add in the reserve shell, was at one point my favorite tank in the game. It's still probably my favorite medium, so it's going to go right into the favorite category. Absolutely love that tank. We've already gone through basically all of my tanks that I've listed as favorites throughout the years. There might be another here or there, but for the most part, that's kind of them all. The CS63, we're going to put into the fun category. I like the CS, but It's still not the best. I'd rather drive a Leopard 1 over it, but I did actually have quite a bit of fun in the CS in my latest video messing around with the tank. It's a pretty solid vehicle. The Kron used to be one of my favorite tanks in the game. However, Wargaming has changed its playstyle a lot, they've changed how it works a lot, and while I don't think it's my favorite, I'm still going to put it into the fun category, as it's a fun tank to drive. It's got hull down, it's got armor, it's got everything you'd want for a tier 10. The Minnow, I actually really like. And I'm going to put this actually into the super fun category. Not everybody loves the Minnow, but I like the high damage per shot. I love the holding potential. It's one of those tanks that if I just want to chill, have a, sip of water and not have to stress about everything, the Minnow is a rather enjoyable tank. So yeah, we're going to put it into the super fun category. And same for the Progetto 65 and Rhino. Auto reloaders are very enjoyable for me because of the fact they are just the best of both worlds. The Progetto and the Rhino both feature great DPM. In fact, the Rhino gains DPM when it dumps its clip. It's a very enjoyable tank, and because of that, I actually really like driving in the Rhino and the Progetto. Stritzvon K. Ooh, this one's tricky. I'm going to put this into the average category in terms of fun. I don't hate playing it, but it's definitely not a tank I'm like, oh boy, I'm really excited to play either. So yeah, we're gonna put it there. TVP, definitely super fun. I think the TVP is still completely overpowered, and while I don't play it much, I still find it quite enjoyable to mess around with and absolutely crap on my opponents. Same for the VZ55. With the double shotgun it features, the mobility, the gun depression, everything it has, it's a really, really good take right now. So yeah, VZ55 is going to go into the super fun. Now we have the Ball-Shottion with the 100 mil and the 105 mil. Now the 100 mil was buffed in the latest update, and I'm going to put that into the favorite category. And the 105 we're still going to put into super fun. I actually think the 105 is still really good. I'm probably going to make a video on it later today, actually, because I still think it's really solid. I was messing around with it earlier today and it felt great. So I think both guns are very good gun options depending on what you're looking for, and will still absolutely rock the house. The AMX 30B is a tricky one. It was super fun, almost in the favorite category for me, but after a little bit of time, Wargaming decided to nerf it for some reason, even though it was in a really good state. So the 30B, it's still not a bad tank at all. I actually really like it, but it's just disappointing that Wargaming nerfed it. 50B, I'm going to put into the average category for me. I like the 50B. It's a good tank, but I just don't like it that much because I think it's a toxic vehicle. I don't like playing in a tank that has reactive and the ability to deal 1500 damage in X amount of time. I just don't think it's a fair vehicle. And I just don't like tanks like that. I think it just ruins the fun for everybody around you. The Foch 155 obviously features two guns. We have the auto-loading Mod 2 and then the single-shot SA-58. So the double shotgun I'm going to put into the super fun category right now because the tank is a beast, and the single shot we'll put into the fun category. The Foch is a very, very enjoyable tank for me to drive. It's got just everything you'd want: mobility, armor, DPM. It's a beast. And yeah, it goes into the super fun. AMX M4, definitely in the not fun category currently. The gun is just so freaking inaccurate. I can't. I just can't, bro. The gun literally makes me want to kill myself when I drive that tank. It wasn't that bad a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. Maybe my RNG got worse. But the other day I was streaming and the AMX missed like 3 easy shots 10 feet in front of me, and I actually wanted to like scalp myself. So we're going to leave the AMX into the not fun category. The 100 with the 12.8, oh yeah. Honestly, favorite. I've really been enjoying the 100 with the 12.8, and the 15 centimeter we'll put into the fun category. It's not bad, but it's definitely nothing incredible in terms of fun for me. The E50M, it's a fun tank, but as I mentioned, I don't love overpowered vehicles, and I think the E50M is kind of one of those tanks. It's cool, it's, it's a beast, but I don't personally find that much enjoyment in driving it. The grill, I actually like a lot. I think the playstyle is great. I love the way the gun works. I love the damage per shot. And now that the vehicle finally has gear oil, it's an absolute beast. So I'm going to put the grill into super fun. The Jagdpanzer E100, I'm going to put into the fun category. While I don't think it's a very good vehicle, in fact, I think it's one of the worst tier 10s in the game, I do think it's a fun tank. I think that it has high damage per shot, especially paired with tungsten, it can be an absolute beast. So, yeah, we'll put it in the fun category. Kampfpanzer 50-ton, I have not played in a very long time. But that doesn't mean it's not a fun tank. We're also going to put the KPZ 50T into the fun category. Solid DPM, good armor, great mobility. I just don't drive it much because it's not one of those vehicles that particularly appeals to me. The Leopard 1, I'm going to put into the super fun. I don't play it much either, but I do really enjoy playing in the Leopard when I do because of the level of DPM, the mobility, the gear oil, everything the vehicle has currently makes it absolutely insane. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting the Leopard 1 into the super fun category. The mouse, I'm going to put into the average category for now. I love the mouse when it works. I hate it when it doesn't. And the problem is more times than often it doesn't work. And because of that, while I do have some super fun battles in it, the issues with the mouse also make it very hard to sometimes enjoy playing in it. So, yeah, we're gonna plop the mouse right into the average category. VK72, fun. It's not as good as it was in the previous state. Its overall armor and mobility was nerfed, and the DPM same. It would have been super fun in the previous state of the game. Now it's in fun. It's still a good vehicle. It's still a solid tank with the damage per shot, but I also like the 114 SP2, which I'm also putting in the fun category. VK90, I'm going to put in fun. It's a solid tank. Great damage per shot, 460, has 297 millimeters of pen with calibrated, making it the highest for a heavy in tier 10. It has great armor, but I don't think there's anything particularly exciting about the vehicle for me to drive. I'd rather drive any of the vehicles in super fun. The Hori, I'm going to put into the fun category. The Hori is a fun tank to drive. Like, it's stupid OP because of the gun, and it has reactive and everything else. I just don't think it's anything above fun because it doesn't require much skill to play. You just load gold or the fire button and you pen 99% of what you shoot. There's not much of a skill ceiling or floor for the vehicle, so I'm just going to leave it in fun. STB, average. I don't think the STB is a particularly fun vehicle for me to drive. Like, yeah, it's a good tank. It's a great tank, but I've never really loved it because it's just the do-it-all. I'd rather drive a Patton or a Leopard, which have their own strengths and weaknesses, than a vehicle that just does it all. Type 71, I'm going to put into the fun category. I actually really like the Type. I know a lot of people think it's boring, but I love the gun. I think that the 362 millimeters of AP pen with only 20 damage drop-off from the standard is insanely overpowered. The armor is great. The mobility is solid. I think it's a fun tank. It's a great vehicle, actually. So yeah, the Type 71 goes right into the fun category. The Chieftain Mark 6, definitely into the favorite category with the fact the vehicle has tungsten and Hesh right now. It's an absolute beast. I was a little skeptical of the tank when it was being said that it was giving HE and tungsten and everything, but now that they've actually given it the values, I thoroughly enjoy playing in the vehicle. The FE2 and 5B183 I'm going to put into the fun category. It's a fun tank to drive. I hate going up against it, but it is a fun vehicle to drive with the 950 damage per shot, the Hesh that does 1200, and the HE. Everything about the tank is fun. It's a stupid tank. So I'm going to leave it in the fun category. The FE2 and 5B I'm also going to put in fun. I think it's a fun tank, actually. It's got great mobility, solid DPM. It's got Hesh with 187 mils of pen, which butters through even an E100 turret if you have the side of it. It's actually a really good tank. I just don't love some of the problems with it. It has terrible track wheels. It has a terrible engine which constantly gets lit on fire, and this and that. It's a really good tank, but the problems with the 2 and 5B that plague it take it away from the super fun category, at least for me. The Badger, man, the Badger's tricky. I'm going to put the Badger into the average category right now. It was previously fun to super fun, but now that Wargaming has nerfed its traverse speed, it definitely took away quite a bit of its fun for me. So while I do think the Badger is a beast, I'm going to leave it in the average category. The 4005 we are going to put into the fun category. I like the 4005, 4 shell, 410 damage per shotgun. That's 1640. If you're using shell reload boost, that's 5 seconds of clipping time. Like, the tank's a beast. but it also has a lot of downsides, like terrible reverse speed unless you're using super speed boost, which is very situational. It's got incredibly derpy due to the on-movement dispersion. It has a lot of strengths. It has a lot of weaknesses. And while I do like both, I don't think it's a tank that I will always enjoy driving, so fun is fine. The FV4202 with the heat firing gun, the Royal Ordnance, we're going to put into the average because there's really no reason to drive that. And then the Hesh gun, easily super fun. I love Hesh, as you know. I love the skill that is required to do well with a HE firing gun. I think that it's a very super exciting tank. So yeah, we'll put it into the super fun category. The Super Conch, definitely super fun. It's one of the few, I would say, overpowered tanks right now that I do put in super fun. The level of DPM the vehicle features, the level of armor, solid mobility, and pen and everything about the Super Conch is insane, and it definitely goes into the super fun because of that. Vickers Light has a Hesh gun right now, and I actually really like the Vickers Light. It's got great DPM, it's got really good mobility. Actually, yeah, I'm going to put the Vickers Light in the super fun. I just thoroughly enjoy playing in the tank and the capabilities it has. Same for the Concept 1B. Great gun depression, solid DPM, and armor on the turret. Mobility is great. It's one of the best heavies in the game right now, but honestly, a lot of people underrate it. So I'm going to leave the Concept in super fun for me. I think it's a great take. M60 with the 120 mil double shot is going to go into fun. And same for the 105. Previously, it would have been in super fun, but Wargaming recently nerfed its aiming time. And at first glance, it doesn't look like a huge nerf, but trust me, it definitely hurt it quite a bit. I missed like 20,000 shells on stream yesterday with Lego and literally wanted to like stub my toe. Like that's how unenjoyable the gun felt. It might have just been bad luck, but man, I have to put it in the fun after that. It's still a great take. It's just, I like accurate guns. As I say that, the BZ-75 is in the favorite, but I like guns that are accurate. They make me enjoy life because as a skilled player, having an accurate gun takes away the RNG value. And for some reason, the M6 show just doesn't really align with that currently. M46 Patton, fun, not super fun, but I do like the take. I think the gun's great. I think the mobility's great. I think everything about the M48 Patton is actually really enjoyable. And same for the M60. The M60 is a beast. It's not as good as the Patton, obviously. The M48 Patton, I should say, but it's a good vehicle. So that's what we'll put the M60 at. T110E3 is going to go into the fun category. I like the E3 a lot. I think the damage per shot is nice. I think the hull down capabilities are incredible, and the mobility is not as bad as the Badger because it does feature super speed boost, meaning that you can reverse at 20, which is kind of nice. Or I think it's 18, but still, it reverses quick. And when you pair that with the high damage per shot and holding potential the vehicle has, I think the E3 is a beast, so definitely in the fun. The T110E4, easily super fun. The damage per shot, the mobility, the armor, everything about the E4 is incredible. And it is easily one of the most dangerous tier 10s to go up against. So definitely the super fun category. E5, I'm going to put into average for me. I think the E5, it's a nice tank. You know, it's got a solid gun. It's got everything that you'd want. But there's nothing particularly amazing about it, at least for me. Like, yes, it has great dispersion. It has great DPM. It has great turn armor. So it does have amazing things. But I don't find it amazing in terms of play style. If I want a tank that has hull down capabilities and mobility and everything, I'll drive a Concept. But if I want, you know, something else with more alpha or more DPM, there's just different options that I'd choose over the E5, and that's really why. The 57 Heavy goes into fun. I like the 1200 damage in 5 seconds. You can make it like 3.1 if you're running shell reload boost, which is absolutely overpowered. So that goes into the fun category. I don't find it super fun to drive because it does have issues. It's not the best at carrying, but I do find it a fun tank. The T95 E6 definitely goes into the favorite category. I love the E6. I love the mobility. I love the armor being troll. Everything about the E6 is incredible. It's kind of like a Concept 1B, but a little bit more fun. And because of that, I just absolutely adore playing in the tank. Sheridan definitely goes into the super fun category. The 560 damage per shot, paired with incredible mobility and HE resistant armor, makes the vehicle just an absolute beast no matter who's playing it. So definitely going to put the Sheridan into the super fun. XM66F, also let me zoom out a teeny bit. There you go. That way we can see a little bit more of the tier list. But the XM66F, I'm going to put into the fun category. Not super fun. I think that the accuracy is a bit weird on the tank. The armor's good. And everything about the XM is actually really good. It's probably one of the most overpowered tier 10s in the game right now. But, on the other hand, it does feature some things that I don't love. And that is just the fact that it's too good. As I mentioned for the WZ-113 GFT, tanks that are too good just aren't very fun for me because they don't require much skill. So because of that, I just don't love the tank that much. The IS-4, we're going to put it in the average. The IS-4, it's a solid tank, but it's not good enough to really warrant me to want to play it. I'd rather drive, I don't know, an Object 260 over it. I'm not joking. Like, the Object 260 is more mobile than the IS-4, it has better reverse speed, it has more DPM, and while the gun isn't as good in every regard, I do like the 260 more, actually, than the IS-4, funny enough. The IS-7, we're going to put into fun. I actually like the IS-7. I think that the damage per shot with the tungsten and the armor is very enjoyable, but I also think it's a bit brain dead and doesn't require much effort, so we'll put it into the fun category. Object 140, average. It's a good tank, but I don't care much for it. Its armor is non-existent. The DPM is okay. Should have been the way it was previously, so average. Object 260, I'm going to put this into fun. I don't hate the 260. It used to be one of my least favorite takes in the game. I don't hate it anymore because the game right now is more geared towards mobility than it is holding. So I think the 260 is a really good tank at that at least, but it does still plague with problems, but it's all right. That's what I'll put it as. Object 263, definitely in the super fun category. The armor, the mobility, the DPM, everything that the 263 features is very enjoyable for me, and I actually really like driving the tank. And another tank I actually find super fun is the Object 268 version 4. Weirdly enough, it's got one of the least accurate guns in the game. Even though I like accurate guns a lot, I like the V4 a lot. While the gun is incredibly inaccurate, the armor and mobility are quite solid. It's one of the only tank destroyers that reverses at 20, which makes it really maneuverable. I actually really like the V4. I just think it's a fun playstyle. It's kind of similar to the Minnow, and I like the Minnow a lot, so that's why I'm putting it into super fun. The 268, I'm gonna do fun. It's a good tank, and when I drove it, I actually had quite a bit of fun. It's just not a vehicle that does anything truly special for me. If I want more alpha, I'll go for a YAG. If I want more mobility, I'll go for, you know, a grill or something like that. It's a good tank, but that's really the best way to describe it. 777, I'm going to put into the fun category. It's fun. It's not super fun because of the fact its mobility on traverse is really mid. It's got a great gun, but APCR standard. And while it is one of the strongest tier 10s in the game right now, it's just not one that I drive all too much. I don't think it's unenjoyable. I just don't find it the most exciting either. Object 907 definitely goes into super fun with the tracer shells mechanic, the mobility, the DPM. Everything about the tank is actually great. Just a solid vehicle. T100LT, definitely in the fun category with, again, the DPM, the mobility, the tracer shells mechanic. The view range isn't the best, but you don't need that much view range when you have the best camo in tier 10. So it's a really, really good tank. The T100 is just an absolute beast if you know what you're doing in it. So definitely the fun category. The T22 medium is also fun. It's got tungsten, it's got adrenaline, it's got armor, especially after the buffs to its armor. It's got kind of everything you'd want for a tier 10 medium, apart from, I guess, gun depression. But it's a beast. It's just, I don't think it's one of those tanks that I find super fun, but definitely a fun vehicle to mess around with. The T62A, average. It's just like a 140. It's okay, but I'd rather drive any other medium, like a 121B or a WZ121. The Murat, I'm going to put into the super fun category, actually. I like the Murat. I like the playstyle, the 370 damage per shot, double shot. I think it's a fun tank because it's very challenging to play, and it does actually do pretty well. If you know what you're doing, you can get quite heavily rewarded. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Tried to make this video as quick as possible, 23 minutes of listing tanks versus my normal hour and a half tier list, but this isn't a tier list. Well, it is technically, but it's not a ranking of the best tanks. It's just what I find most fun and least fun to drive. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about today's video. As always, if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, and let me know if you'd like to see more content like this on other tiers. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!